In the misty dawn of Guldar Valley, where tiny houses clung to the cliffs like fading memories, a cold breeze whispered through the village, carrying the scent of damp earth and burning firewood. Through these winding paths walked Yusuf, a man known to all as Yusuf the Woodcutter. He carried a worn axe, had steady hands, and an honest heart. Poverty was a constant guest in his home, but complaint was a stranger to his lips. Inside a small house, his wife Amina was boiling tea over a clay stove. Their 6-year-old son, Armaan, lay on a thin mat, his small body burning with fever again. His fragile coughs echoed in the quiet room. Amina's eyes were heavy with worry, yet a flicker of hope remained. As Yusuf prepared to leave, she whispered, "Yusuf, Armaan's fever is worse. He needs a doctor." Yusuf nodded, his face etched with concern. "God will provide," he said. Though his pockets were almost empty, he set off towards the forest, his late father's words echoing in his heart. "Never cut a living tree, my son. Earn with honesty, even if it brings you little." Yusuf lived by this rule as if it were a sacred oath. The forest floor was littered with fallen branches and logs from the previous night's storm. He began gathering them, sweat beading on his forehead, but his face was peaceful. To Yusuf, his work was a form of prayer. Suddenly, his eyes fell upon something unusual. Half buried under a pile of leaves, between two muscovade stones, was a dusty leather pouch. It was old, forgotten, and mysterious. Without opening it, Yusuf marked the spot, hoping its rightful owner would one day return to find it. Before heading home, he decided to report a fallen tree to the forest guard, Callan, a man whose greedy eyes missed nothing. A large oak trunk fell on government land. Yusuf reported honestly, "You can take it, Yusuf, if you give me my share. Honesty doesn't fill an empty stomach." Yusuf's reply was calm but firm. "It is better to stay hungry than to earn from a lie." Callan laughed mockingly. "We'll see. This world has a way of breaking honest men." That evening, Yusuf returned home with nothing. Amina looked at him, her tired eyes still searching for a glimmer of hope. "Did you earn anything today?" she asked softly. "Not today," he whispered, his voice heavy. "But God is watching over us." As if on cue, rain began to fall, tapping against their humble roof. Armaan's fever climbed higher. Amina soaked a cloth in cool water and gently pressed it to her son's forehead. The poor have few medicines, but they have an abundance of prayers. Just then, a sharp knock echoed through the small house. It was the village postman, proudly twisting his long mustache. "A letter for Yusuf ibn Karim," he announced. Yusuf was stunned. His father, Karim, had passed away years ago, and no one ever sent letters to him. He hesitantly opened it. The official script read, "According to the will of Al-Hajj, Abdul Karim Yusuf, son of Karim, is required to appear at the city office next Friday." Yusuf stared at the name. Abdul Karim. Who was he? And why would he mention Yusuf in his will? But his son's worsening condition pushed a mysterious letter from his mind. He tucked it safely under a mat, murmuring, "Whatever this is, God only brings what is best." The next morning, with the earth softened by the rain, Yusuf returned to the forest. He found the leather pouch right where he'd left it. This time, he picked it up and gently opened it. Inside, he found a sealed, ancient document, 2 antique copper coins, a worn prayer bead, and a small, ornate wooden dagger, clearly a family heirloom. He unrolled the document. It read, "Return this trust to Haveliza. Its true owner will be known by his honesty, Abeliza." The abandoned mansion that stood silently on the hill overlooking the valley. By sunset, Yusuf stood before its decaying, creaking gates. As he stepped inside, an elderly woman with trembling hands and hair as white as silver appeared from the shadows. "Who are you?" she asked, her voice frail. "I am a man returning a trust," Yusuf replied, holding out the pouch. She took it, her eyes widening as she saw the contents. These belong to my late husband," she gasped. "May God bless your honesty." Then, looking at him intently, she asked, "What is your name, son?" "Yusuf, son of Karim." "The woman Babi?" Serena froze. A flicker of recognition crossed her aged face. "Karim? Son of Abdul? Karim?" Yusuf shook his head. "No, my father was just Karim the woodcutter." Bibi Zarina smiled sadly. "My child, there is a truth you do not know. Abdul Karim left a will. You must go to the city. A great blessing awaits you there, but also great danger." Just as she finished speaking, the door burst open. The forest guard, Callan, stood there with several officers, a triumphant sneer on his face. "So, this is where you hide your stolen treasure, Yusuf," he jeered. "The contents of this old mansion belong to the government, unless you want to make a deal." Yusuf looked him straight in the eye. "You can steal land, but you cannot steal a man's faith." Callan's smile faded. "We will see how long that faith of yours lasts." Yusuf returned home late that night, soaked by the relentless rain. Amina saw the storm brewing in his eyes. "What happened?" she asked, her voice filled with dread. "Tomorrow," Yusuf whispered, his gaze distant. "Fate will put us to the test." At dawn, Yusuf prepared for his journey. Amina packed a small cloth bag with a piece of bread, some jaggery, and a small container of water. Armaan was sleeping, his fever finally starting to subside. "Bring back medicine for her son," Amina said, her voice a soft plea, "and bring back the truth." Yusuf managed a faint smile. "If God wills, I will return with both." He walked through muddy paths and green fields, past ponds filled with herons, until he reached a small town. From there, he boarded a bullock cart heading to the city, lost in a sea of strangers and his own swirling thoughts. Who was Al-Hajj? Abdul Karim? Why did his father hide such a secret? What awaited him in the sprawling, unknown city? By evening, the towering minarets and bustling markets of the city came into view. The noise, the speed, the sheer power of it all was overwhelming. A world away from his quiet village, he found his way to the city court, where a man with solemn eyes, Judge Farouk, was waiting for him. "You are Yusuf, son of Karim?" the judge asked. "Yes," Yusuf replied. Judge Farouk opened a dusty old file. "This is the last will and testament of Al-Hajj Abdul Karim," he said, his voice grave. "In it, he left his entire estate, his house, his lands, his fortune too, his only surviving heir, a son living in Guldar Valley named Yusuf." A son living in Guldar Valley named Yusuf, but I never knew him. My father never spoke of him. Judge Farouk sighed. "Sometimes, fathers hide the truth to protect their children." The judge then leaned forward. "But this inheritance will not be yours so easily. Powerful rivals claim you are a fraud. They will stop at nothing to discredit you." Yusuf looked down at his calloused, rough hands. "I have nothing," he sighed softly, "except my faith and the truth." Judge Farouk nodded, a hint of respect in his eyes. "Then prepare yourself, Yusuf. The storm begins now." That night, in a small, rented room, Yusuf sat staring at a flickering lantern as the rain whispered against the window pane. He ate the last piece of bread Amina had packed for him, but his heart was too full of questions to feel hunger. Was he truly the heir to a fortune? What powerful enemies were lurking in the shadows? And would he ever return home to his family? Or would this storm swallow him whole? He closed his eyes and offered a prayer. Tomorrow would decide everything.